Hello and welcome. Today is the 20th day of December 2016. My name is Derek. Welcome to the Silver Charts channel. I'll take a look at every time frame I have for silver, as well as go over some data within the supply and demand of physical silver. So without further ado, let's get started. Today's session, making new lows below the previous ones in June today. And it has since rallied a little bit, but it is at the stage now where is it going to be resisting what the most recent support level has been, or the lows of the last three sessions. Still declining 18 average and well below it. Now I was just looking quickly earlier and I noticed an interesting trend for the most part, and that is on the start of rallies you get a lot of these larger up moves in which close near the highs of the period. And you can make the same case on the down moves, which close near the lows. But at topping points, you can see that oftentimes it closes well below. And in here, I was mentioning for this session in here how it was not closing at its highs, and down it goes. So now, as it's down a bit, is this going to be a sign that it's going to have some sort of push? The answer is maybe, but its next resistance test, if it can even go higher from where it is going to be towards this declining 18 average. And you'll be looking in the areas of about 16 and a third up to 16 and a half as its next resistance area level. As far as other time frames are concerned, here's your support test amongst that level, your bounce to the 18 average of lows, another test of it like it had back in there, and now the decline, which is barely broken down below this level, which tells me that it's either going to be that fake move that's going to at least have a test of the band, or it's probably going to make a level or a test in towards the 15 handle. And as far as the next time frame is concerned, which is the monthly chart, see, we're in a spot where, I hate using that word see, it's just bad English. However, you have this breakout above here, and now it's been correcting back where it's now 3 consecutive months down in a row and barely down below this 18 average, and you really don't want to go much further. Technically speaking, as long as it holds this low, then it will at least stay in the correctionary phase that it's been in for we'll say the year. And breaking down below that would set up, of course, this big failed move, of course, to the upside on the if case scenario. And when you even look at this on the quarterly time frame, you're at a spot where this is the only time in a long time, right in here. This is quarters 1, 2, and 3 of this year, with this quarter going to be a down one, where it had 2 consecutive up quarters with, of course, higher highs. The only other times where you can see 2 up quarters in a row was here, but it barely made a gain on the first one with a lower high, and the next one had a small gain with, again, a lower high, and at the time it was just making a neutral market. But the last previous times was in here, where it actually had that even 2 consecutive up quarters in a row, as it's been in, of course, this downtrend for quite some time. So therefore, if this is that resistance test towards here, same thing on the monthly chart, you got these similar lows that are going to be needed to hold this to keep it in the same correctionary phase. So now, as far as some data is concerned, I'll give you a link to this PDF file, and this is on page 8, which has data from 2006 up to 2015, which has mine production, which as it was 10 years ago, 643 million ounces, compared to now going over 800. So an increase. That looks good. Net government sales, I don't know what it is, but it's really nothing anyway. Scrap, this is an interesting level we're looking at here. It used to be 200 million in the late part of the first decade of this millennium. And then it got up to 227, 260, and 250 as the prices were rising. And now the prices are lower. You can make two cases for this. One, the cost of silver, or the price I should state, or two, not much scrap is left to be scrapped again. As far as some parts in demand, this is what I like the best, is this thing here, because I can show you these Silver Eagles and how many they mint year over year. But this is how much is minted into coins and bars from the yearly, from what was made that year. So in 2006, it was 50 million, then 56, 2008 up to 192, large decline, but a decent decline above before to 92 million, up to 140, 210, 160, 240, 230, and now at 290 last year. So a major increase in overall coins and bars in 2015. I'll be very interested to see the 2016. Silverware is actually staying steady. Industrial fabrication, just a small decline, with most of it being in other. Okay. However, physical surplus, a deficit, and that is, or the net, how much it's losing year over year. And I got an interesting chart here which shows how it used to gain silver, and all of a sudden it's down. Now, I'm not too sure how accurate these numbers are, because my last research was something like 30 or 40 consecutive years of decline. So maybe that number was wrong. I've also calculated that it's probably somewhere, as total reserves as we speak right now, somewhere around 18 to 19 billion. I'm just going over what a website said of what every country has in metric tons, and then calculating it into ounces. This level would mean problems into the next decade. But obviously that's been a deficit year over year for several years, or a lot has been declining within a decent amount of time. So again, we've had price decline with bullion investment rising large. And I have to say that the selling that we do see is most likely going to work out to be a fake. But the question is how long can it go? Can it test a lot of these other levels? We find it, the manipulation based on these messages sent by all of these traders. Deutsche Bank, of course, releasing this information. Well, surely the manipulation has got to stop. Yeah, but why today? Why next week? Why next month? And why even next year? And maybe even why even next decade? How long can this go on for? It's been going on for a while. So it's probably not going to end anytime soon, because it seems as if sometimes if information gets leaked of natures like this, well, if the ones that are policing those institutions are kind of involved in these situations, I'm just saying hypothetically, if that's the case, then it ain't going to stop. So that's why if you get a lot of these leaked information of this type of stuff, it might take a long time for a lot of this to end. So if you get the situation breaking down below in here, then the most probable situation is those coins and bars that are in demand are only going to skyrocket as far as the demand numbers overall, especially when people buy in dollar terms. And okay, so normally I spend 25,000 or whatever, I spend X amount. Well, that means with 30% lower prices, I can get a lot more silver. And that again helps increase the demand levels for those situations. So obviously I'm saying I have no idea in the midterm where this is headed. But as far as the short-term analysis is concerned, then I'm looking at this key area for resistance now, and on a break of this level of support, I'll be looking for it to go to about 1512. And If this thing can hold better on the short term, then we're looking for moves again up to this level here for the next resistance point if it goes further. Take care.